I want to welcome to the stage Brad Williams. Brad is founder and CEO at WebDevStudios. And Brad, your group has really stepped up to kind of help fill this void of integrating Algolia with WordPress. And I kind of wanted to give you some time to talk about it.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. This has been great. So I'm excited to jump in. Hello, Internet. Excited to virtually not see everybody, but looking forward to diving into Algolia and WordPress. So advancing search for half the internet. That's a pretty bold statement. What do we mean by that? As Chuck said, my name is Brad Williams, CEO, co-founder of an agency called WebDevStudios. We specialize in WordPress and design and development. We've been building sites with WordPress for over 15 years now. So we've seen a lot. We've built a lot of pretty amazing things over the years, and we're big fans of open source and big fans of Algolia. So let's dive in. Half the internet, right? Right now, this is as of last month, November 2023. WordPress powers 42.9% of all websites. This is coming from the W3 Techs stats. And I think the important note here is, what do we mean by all websites, right? Again, another very bold stat. Basically, they define all websites as the relevant web. It's approximately 10 million of the most highest trafficked websites across the internet. Almost half of those sites, getting close to half, are powered by WordPress. These sites could be on proprietary, custom built. They could be on another CMS, but almost 43% of those are on WordPress currently, as of last month. Now, of those 10 million sites, if there is a known CMS powering that website, 2/3 of those are actually running WordPress. Again, another pretty wild stat if you think about it. So WordPress is pretty dominant. Most people at this point have heard of it. Even if you're not in technology, you've heard of WordPress, you're familiar with it. It is a very dominant platform on the internet for good reason. It's a great CMS, open source, very powerful. People love it. So what does that mean for Algolia? WordPress and Algolia, match made in heaven. WordPress is amazing at content management. It's one of the reasons it's so popular. It's very good at managing content. Algolia is very good about searching and finding that content, right? So it's a perfect match made in heaven. We can absolutely enhance the search across all of these millions of WordPress websites in a matter of a couple clicks. And guess what? We're live demoing today. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So my company has built and released, this is a free open source plugin for WordPress called WP Search with Algolia. And this allows you to one click index all of your WordPress content with Algolia. And bring those really blazing fast, relevant search results right to WordPress and to all of those users for you and for your customers. Relevant, faceted, ready search results in milliseconds. You know, what we all love about Algolia. Granular control over the search content and relevancy. And a lot of hooks and filters. So if you're, and we'll touch on that a little bit. As developers, this is a developer conference. How can you extend what we've built in many different ways to really, satisfy whatever it is you're trying to do with Algolia and WordPress. So I have some links here, but we're going to demo and show this off, and we'll certainly share those links out as we go here. So I'm really hoping the holiday elves are on my side here with the live demo and not the gremlins. So we'll see. So this is a default WordPress installation. I've installed WordPress the other day. There's only two things I've done. One is I put this search bar in the header because I want to make it very easy for us to test what we're going to do. And I created some content. So we have some content to index and play around with. So if I go under post, you'll see some Pokemon content, some technology content, just some content to kind of demo what we're doing here. Other than that, it is completely plain and vanilla WordPress running the new 2024 WordPress theme. So when you're in WordPress, it's very simple. If you go to plugins, add new, this gives you the plugin search repository within the dashboard of WordPress. All you have to do is search Algolia, just like you would expect. We're going to be right there at the top. WP Search with Algolia. You can click on it and get more details about the plugin, how it works, compatibility, all that great stuff. We're going to go ahead and install it because we trust this plugin since we built it, and we know a lot of people are using it. Plugins now installed. If we go into our plugins directory here, we can see here's some of the plugins that come with WordPress, but right there, WP Search with Algolia. Let's go ahead and activate that. All right, we've activated it. Nothing changes on activation, right? It is ready to go, but we still have to configure a couple things, right? So you'll see a new menu shows up, Algolia Search. We'll go ahead and click on that. And as you would expect, we need to hook in some keys so that we can actually access the API with Algolia. I'm sure everyone watching knows where to get those keys, but if you don't, we have handy little links here that take you right to Algolia, your Algolia dashboard, and right to the keys that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and copy my application ID, just a little bit of copy and paste here, paste it right there. Now I need my search only API key. Go ahead and copy that, save it. And then of course our admin API key. Those are the 3 keys you're going to need. Now it wants a prefix. It's going to default to whatever the prefix is in WordPress. I'm going to make this a little bit more descriptive. Let's just call it DevBit _. This is the prefix for my search index in Algolia, which I'll show you in just a second. And let's go ahead and save. Now, just to clarify, I signed up for the free build plan on Algolia. That's all we're using right now. So everything I'm showing you today is off the shelf. There is no cost involved, which is, I mean, the fact you get this much out of Algolia for free, is amazing. Indexes 1 million records. I think you get 10,000 searches a month on their free build plan. So definitely check it out. It's great to kick the tires and test things. So I've saved all my settings. It's all good right now. The next step, which it tells you here, I need to go to the search page and start and to configure my search. Couple clicks here and away we go. So the first thing I want to do, it's telling me there's no index. I need to make an index. Very simply, I click reindex, and guess what? It just indexed everything. Now let's go to Algolia and check that out. So if I go to my Algolia account and refresh, remember we prefixed DevBit _. This is a different demo. DevBit _ is our new one. Let's click on that. Guess what? Here's all the content in WordPress. That's how easy it was. I now have an index of, in this case, I don't have a lot of content, but a little bit of content that's been indexed. There's about 15 records here. So, it's showing the content has made it. If we refresh, that message should go away. Actually, let me re-index that. Now, remember, we are not, I'll go ahead and save the changes. We are not using Algolia yet. So if I go to the front end of my site and search, let's just search charm. Let's find in a couple Pokemon that I have in here. This is default WordPress search. Nothing has changed, right? We'll go ahead and go back and let's turn this on. And we're going to turn on the native Algolia search. Now this, if you read this, it gives you a description of what it means. Basically, this is using the native WordPress search template that's within your theme. So the look and feel will not change, but the results will change. Now these results are powered by Algolia, but it's using the same layout and look and feel that my theme is using. You notice some other posts showed up because Algolia is much, it's going to find better results, more results. It's not an exact keyword match. Of course it is, but it can do more than that, where WordPress is just a basic keyword match. If it doesn't match exactly, it's not showing up. Algolia has given me some more results that it found that are relevant, right? Now, the third option here is if we go to the instance search, and this is where stuff gets really cool, right? So if I save that, turn it on, and all I have to do is refresh my search page, and bam, now I'm using the Algolia instance search JavaScript, which is amazingly powerful right out of the box. Now you can see it's a very different looking experience than what I had. But notice I have these filters baked right in here. I can say, you know what, just show me Pokemon, just show me technology, just show me the post, maybe just this one tag. So very quickly I can filter, I can search, I can continue to search in here. My results will change. Really, really powerful feature right here. And again, a couple clicks and done, right? And as a developer, I'll show you in a minute how you can quickly customize this and really take it as far as you want from the development side. A couple other features I want to touch on before we do that is the autocomplete. So this is as you're typing into a search field, it will start showing you results. It's off by default. Let's go ahead and turn that on. You can get very granular with what it's going to show and the type of content. Let's just go with all posts. I don't want to make it too complex for the live demo here. So I do need to re-index all posts here, and it will tell me that to make sure you hit re-index. And that's basically building the index for that dropdown. Now, if I go back to my home page, remember I have my dropdown. As soon as I start typing, notice the autocomplete that is showing up as I'm typing. Things are happening. Again, another really cool enhancement to a WordPress site with a click, turning on an option. So if I click search or hit enter, of course, it's going to take me to the instant search results page that we saw earlier. There's a few more settings here that you can customize, but that's really kind of the bulk of it. A couple other things I want to show. I have another demo here in case my live demo didn't work. Pro tip. This one's all set up and configured. So this is another WordPress site. Something switched over here. Let me get my screen back on here. Here we go. All right, here's another WordPress site. It's purple, so you know it's a little bit different. The only difference here is I have some different types of content. I've added some movies as a custom post type. Big fan of Christmas, big fan of Christmas movies. So I've loaded some in here, and I want to kind of show how it works with different types of content. So this is, again, the front end of my second demo, and I'm going to search for Home Alone, one of my favorite movies. So as you can see, as I start searching, it's showing all posts, which is all your content, and then it's also breaking it down into movies because it knows I have a movie content. In this case, let's search Home Alone and hit enter. There it is. There's 2 results. You know what? I feel like if you search Home Alone should be number 1. So again, I want to show you how quickly we can start customizing this. Let's go to Algolia and make a rule. So first thing I need to make sure I'm on the right index. Remember, I had 2. This is the DevBit demo index, which is right here. So this is the index we're working against. You can see Jack Frost, some of my Christmas movies. Let's make a simple rule, and I'll zoom in a little bit. Click on rules. We'll just make a nice visual editor rule, and I'm going to set a query condition that says if you search the word home, I don't care where it's at, if you search the word home, here's the 2 results I'm seeing, just like Algolia. I want Home Alone to be number 1. I'm just going to drag it there and save it. Real basic example. Save that rule. And now guess what? As soon as I refresh, Home Alone's number 1. So you can modify, you can create custom rules and really tailor your results on the Algolia side, but you can also do that on the code side. So again, if this is a open source GPL v2 licensed plugin, freely available for anyone, this is our GitHub repository. Within here, this is the one thing I just want to touch on before we get into Q&A. If you go into templates, this will be, if you install the plugin, this is all the code that's going to be within the plugin. If you go into your templates folder, you'll see autocomplete and instant search, 2 PHP template files. You can create an Algolia folder in your theme directory and add these into your theme, and then you can customize them however you want. So if I go into instant search, remember those instant search results. Look at this. I scroll down. I see the different facets that you can filter by, post types, categories, tags, users. Those are exactly what we saw on the results page right here on the right-hand side. So now you can very quickly see, of course, there's some JavaScript associated with it, but very quickly see once you get this into your theme, this is where the developer power really comes into play. You can customize this however you want, build the most, immaculate, amazing search results page, but do whatever you want there. So it really allows you to get a head start rather than, mess around with hooking it in the API and getting everything indexed. The plugin does that for you. Let the plugin do what it does, get everything indexed. Then you can go in as a developer and really customize it. And at that point, really sky's the limit when it comes to, as we all know, when it comes to Algolia. So again, this is on GitHub. We'll share out these links. The main plugin, you can either search within the WordPress dashboard, or if you go to wordpress.org/plugins, which is what the WordPress dashboard is searching, search Algolia. It's the same place. It's still available here. You can download it, get all the release notes, all the information. And we also have a pro plugin I encourage you to check out, which brings some more advanced functionality into play beyond just, basic content searching and indexing. So that is the Algolia plugin. I'll switch it back over to my presentation here, and looking forward to any questions you might have. Oh yeah, we did the demo.
Oh, awesome. Very well done. Well, Brad, I can tell that you've been to DevBits or DevCons in the past because you had a Pokemon theme. And anyone who's been to more than one of these events knows that at Algolia, we love a good Pokemon index.
Love Pokemon.
Although in our chat, I did see the message more Gengar. So I guess that's your first feedback is we want some ghost.
Not enough Pokemon is the first thing. I'm a big Gengar fan too. Very misunderstood guy.
Exactly. So we're starting to get some questions coming in. Yeah. I will say that there was a lot of love for rules. So I think the fact that you showed those off, that's something honestly that we don't get to do a lot in sort of the quick demos that we do for these types of events. So really nice to kind of get into some of the advanced features like that. First,
and it helps kind of connect the dots between, what you're seeing and how you can, it doesn't all have to be controlled in code or within the plugin. It's a combination, right? And Algolia, I mean, there's so many great tools on the dashboard side of things that many people can do what they need to do right through the dashboard. So.
Right. And I think I remember when you gave us the dry run of this, my feedback to you was like, ooh, there's not a lot of code here, because it is very much like a low code, no code solution here, which is really good. Like meet developers where they are already.
Yeah, I like it sets the foundation, and that way, they can really spend their time working on those customizations unique to whatever project they're on versus kind of the basics of getting things indexed, right? This gives you a massive head start to that. So
right on. The questions are starting to flood in. The first one is this available for WooCommerce products?
Yeah, great question. So this will actually, if you install the plugin, it will index any custom post type content that you have in WordPress, including WooCommerce products. The difference is it doesn't know that it's a WooCommerce product. So there's additional metadata that is important to things like products, like price, sale price, these items that maybe don't exist for normal posts or content for obvious reasons. So there's a couple things you could do. One is you could custom develop to make sure you're indexing some of that information, because you're probably going to show things like price or some of those specific metadata. Or two, that's part of what our our pro plugin, I should say, brings in, is it actually knows those specific metadata values for WooCommerce, and it will index those and allow those to be searchable and show up in your templates, as well as like total sales and things like that. So it's bringing in some real specific WooCommerce data into the index and bringing that into your search results and your templates. So a couple different ways you could attach it. Either go with the pro plugin and away you go, or you could, with a little bit of code, you could roll it out with the free plugin.
Well, why don't you, now that we've kind of brought it up, why don't you talk a little bit more? So the premium version, what are sort of the value adds that you get out of moving to premium?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll pop this back on stage. So we'll have a link here. There's a link if you go to the free plugin to our pro plugin with some of the features. The two really marquee features are, I mentioned the WooCommerce products indexing, but the second one is multi-site indexing. So multi-site is a core WordPress feature that allows you to have multiple WordPress sites with a single installation of the WordPress software. So you could have 2 sites running on one install of WordPress. You have 2 million sites. The only real limitation is going to be your server infrastructure and how much it can handle. But what this allows you to do, you can imagine if you have a network of sites, school's a good example. Schools have a lot of different departments. Maybe each department has a site. It allows you to create a multi-site network-wide index of everything. So it's not just individual site indexes, which is what the free plugin does. This makes one massive network index. So for a school, you could have department level searching, as well as, entire school system searching through Algolia. So it really brings in another kind of level of, power when it comes to kind of multi-site indexing. And there's some other things around no indexing with SEO, but those are really the two big kind of marquee features.
Got it. Cool. Well, it sort of half answers one of the other questions, which is around customizing the index. It sounds like there's a lot of sort of guided customization that you can do on the premium side, but in the free, are you still able to sort of customize which elements get indexed?
So out of the gate, it's kind of index. It's pretty much coded what we pull in an index. There are filters, hooks, and filters and actions within WordPress where you can modify that. That's how we do it with the product space. So we know, okay, WooCommerce has these additional meta fields that we want to index. So you can use a filter and add those in. But there's not a GUI where you could, kind of check exactly what you want in there. It would have to be done at the code level, but 100% customizable. I would encourage anyone, and I'll drop a link into the chat when I'm done here. If you go to WebDevStudios/blog, we have a lot of really great tutorials on our blog around Algolia, and specifically how to make those customizations at the code level, how to build a whole custom. In fact, our lead developer, give him a shout out, Michael Beckwith. He has like a 3-part series on how to really understand the plugin, the settings, how to control the templates and customize the templates and really take it to a more advanced level. So that gives you that granular control. You can say, here's a bunch of metadata I have for a unique project I'm doing. I need to get all that indexed. And it walks you through how to do that.
Right on. Michael's actually hanging out in the chat. So if
Michael,
you're in the chat, you can go say hey to him right now. Oh man. And that threw me off a little. Oh, I was going to say that if you do want to kind of see the nitty gritty of how it works, like there's obviously the plugin. The Algolia kind of position WordPress has been, for better or worse, let's show you how to roll your own. Let's teach you to fish. So if you go to the Algolia documentation, there's actually some pretty good step-by-steps on building kind of a similar. It's not going to be nearly as good as honestly what WebDevStudios is offering the community, but it could give you some good guidance on kind of how to tweak it to kind of get that more, I guess, the business logic into your index or how you're kind of extracting data from.
100%. And a lot of that knowledge is kind of, you could kind of cross-pollinate. You could do a custom build. You could take, a lot of those tutorials on the Algolia doc site and use that with the plugin. Like it's kind of walking you through how to configure it. It's just hooking into the WordPress side of things so you know how to do that. But yeah, it's really great documentation, within the doc side of Algolia.
Right on. What about password protected sites? Can you index those as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you just need to make sure, obviously, if you're indexing something, you're sending data out to a third-party site like Algolia. So you got to make sure whatever you're indexing is, you're allowed to with whatever you're working on, and use a third party. There's really no limitations there. You just need to make sure that, the API and working with WordPress core API functionality, you're not blocking that in any way, because that's how we're interacting with the Algolia API. That's not going to be blocked by default unless you specifically put something in place to do that. So that would be the only real limitation. If for some reason like APIs were just shut off within WordPress, so it couldn't work with an external service. But generally that's not the case. So yeah, really no limitations there.
Yeah, I think kind of the core pieces are this plugin is working essentially with events within WordPress itself. So it's aware of when you're doing content updates, and it's doing the index refresh based on that. It's not doing a crawl on the front side. This isn't going and looking at the outside version of the site. So it's not a crawler. So it is
good point, Chuck, because I did want to mention that it is once you do that initial index, it's constantly staying updated. If you add a page or a post, or if you delete something, or if you're updating something, every time you're making a change, it is going to Algolia and also making that change within your index. So it's not like you have to, every time you make a bunch of changes, re-index. You can. It doesn't hurt anything. But it just does it from scratch, right? You don't need to do that. So as you're adding pages, they're automatically going to show up on Algolia and automatically show up in your search as soon as they're published and public.
Right on. And from an Algolia perspective, as Brad said, once that information is in an index, that is an API accessible index. It is reliant on keys. Historically, for non-protected sites, you would probably use a public search key that was static and baked into your code in some way. But if it was a protected site, Algolia does have the concept of secure API keys that you can generate per user. You can make them ephemeral. So there are ways to protect your search index in the same way that you would protect your site. Cool. I got one more question for you, Brad. What's your word?
My secret word is swag.
Swag. All right.
It's in a trend here.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a pattern.
There might be. We might, if we put that into an AI platform, it might be able to conjecture what the last word is. But we're going to hold off on that. And I'm just going to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to WebDevStudios for being a great partner and a community member in building this amazing plugin for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Chuck, and Julie, for all the help. And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, Brad.